A near hysteric giggle trailed behind me breathlessly as my feet pounded against the carpet that coated the second floor of the house. My heart beat hard against my ribs in a rapid staccato that only grew faster as my back tingled. I tried to run, I really did, but Ryan was just better at catching me than I was at escaping him. Large, warm palms wrapped around my hips and a squeal burst from my throat as I was lifted off the floor. Grasping at Ryan's wrists, I kicked out my legs, blindly flailing while my back hit his rock-hard chest. Harsh, heavy pants sounded in my ear, and thick arms held me like solid steel bands. Against my shoulder blade, I could feel his heart beating just as fast and as hard as mine.
"You're gonna pay for taking that, baby."
The growling, husking quality in Ryan's voice made my core pulse, and a whimper escaped my lips between huffs for air. Pinned against the hallway wall, I gasped as his entire body formed to mine and his arms slid out from under my bust. Taking hold of both my wrists, he pulled them above my head and grunted in my ear as his obvious erection pressed against my bottom.
"Apologize for taking my pizza, and I'll let you go, Sylvia."
Dizziness plagued my mind, mixing with the want I felt for him that only flared at his demand. Grinding against my backside, his harsh breaths flowed down to tickle my chest and sting my nipples as they rubbed against my shirt. No, it was just one bite. My abdomen flipped at the half-annoyed, half-aroused sound that tore from Ryan's throat.
"I'll give you one bite."
Pulling my arms down to hold my wrists against the small of my back, Ryan dropped to his knees with a loud thud. I couldn't breathe, only managing small rasps and wheezes as his free fingers slipped under the waistline of my shorts. A harsh gasp burned my throat when he yanked the jean material down and my flesh quivered at being bare. Blunt, straight teeth trailed against my skin, and I tensed as Ryan bit down on my mound. My spine tingled and a moan bubbled from my depths at the sensation. Leaning into his mouth, my legs barely held me up. My hands clenched into fists, but he held firm. Licking the offended spot, his rough tongue sent shocks to my thighs. Ugh. Rocking back on my heels, my core throbbed with need while Ryan coated my right butt cheek with his saliva. My shorts and underwear fell around my ankles, and my inner thigh twitched as thick, hot fluid dribbled from my leaking entrance.
"Yeah, baby. Pop that ass out for me, Sylvia."
Ryan's growl reverberated up my back and down my legs, and I obeyed mindlessly. Spreading my legs as much as I could, I shivered with anticipation as all rational thought flew from my mind. The burning need I felt for him wouldn't allow for anything else. Gasping at the rush of cool air that flowed over my wet folds, I strained against his hold only to feel his grip turn vice-like around my wrists. I wasn't prepared for Ryan's tongue dragging along my slit, and I nearly lost it right then and there. Twisting and tightening, my channel undulated to send waves of pleasure through my body. My toes curled, fingers flexed, and even the hairs on my head stood from the sensation. Ryan, oh my God, Ryan. Crying out in ecstasy, my lips screwed and my eyelids shuddered tightly together. Between my legs, Ryan groaned loudly, his mouth latching onto my folds to suckle and nibble. Licking up, his tongue flicked my swollen, aching bud, and a whimper escaped my lips as my knees wobbled dangerously. Ryan released my arms to hang uselessly, but they didn't stay that way. Whirling me around, he took hold of my hips as the world spun before dragging me down. I didn't hear his soft oomph as I fell on his chest, and I choked slightly on my own breath as my lungs screamed for relief. But there was none to be found when I focused enough to realize I was straddling his mouth.